In the quiet town of Coldwater, Michigan, life moved slowly, predictably, and safely, or at least, that's what people thought. Families locked their doors at night more out of habit than fear, kids rode their bikes until sunset, and the biggest scandal you'd likely hear about was someone shoplifting from the local grocery store. But beneath the calm surface of this seemingly ordinary town lay a story so disturbing, it would not only shatter the community's sense of safety but would also become one of the most haunting cases in true crime history. It all began with the disappearance of a young woman named Rachel Carter. She was 22 years old, bright, and ambitious, with dreams of becoming a nurse. Rachel was the kind of person who lit up a room. Her friends described her as the one who always knew how to make you laugh even on your worst day. On the evening of October 12, 2003, Rachel left her part-time job at the diner just after 9 p.m. Her shift had run late, and she was exhausted. She told her coworker that she was heading home, a short 15-minute drive away. She never made it. When Rachel's mother, Linda, woke up the next morning and found her daughter's bed empty, panic set in. Rachel was not the type to stay out all night without calling. Within hours, Linda contacted the police, and a missing person report was filed. At first, officers suspected Rachel might have gone out with friends, but her phone had been left behind at the diner. Her car wasn't at home, and when authorities checked local hangouts, no one had seen her. It was as if Rachel had vanished into thin air. The police began their search by retracing Rachel's route from work. They found her car abandoned just 5 miles from the diner, parked on the side of a dark stretch of road. The driver's door was unlocked, and the keys were still in the ignition. Inside the car was Rachel's purse, her wallet, and her jacket. But Rachel was gone. There were no signs of a struggle, no broken glass, no blood, nothing to suggest what had happened. The discovery sent a ripple of fear through the community. People began locking their doors religiously, and whispers spread, could there be a predator in Coldwater? As days turned into weeks, investigators worked tirelessly. They interviewed dozens of witnesses, combed through surveillance footage from nearby gas stations, and set up roadblocks, hoping someone had seen Rachel that night. Nothing came up. Then, a chilling tip arrived. A truck driver reported seeing a man standing next to Rachel's car around the time she went missing. He described him as tall, wearing a dark hoodie, with a noticeable limp. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep the investigation alive. Detectives soon discovered that Rachel wasn't the first young woman to vanish in the area. Over the past 3 years, 2 other women, both in their 20s, had disappeared under similar circumstances. Their cars had been found abandoned on lonely roads, with no trace of the women themselves. At the time, police believed they were unrelated incidents. Now, the pieces began to fit together. A horrifying realization spread through Coldwater: there was a serial predator among them. The breakthrough came when a farmer reported strange activity on his property just outside town. He claimed to have seen an unfamiliar man wandering the edges of his field at night, carrying what looked like large garbage bags. When police investigated, they found freshly disturbed soil near an old barn. Digging revealed the unimaginable: the remains of a young woman, buried in a shallow grave. DNA testing later confirmed it wasn't Rachel, but one of the other missing women. The gruesome discovery shifted the investigation into high gear. Police set up surveillance in the area, convinced the killer might return. And they were right. Just 2 weeks later, in the dead of night, a dark figure was spotted near the same barn. Officers moved in, quietly surrounding him. When they shone their flashlights, the man froze like a deer caught in headlights. He was tall, with a gaunt face, sunken eyes, and, just as the truck driver had described, a noticeable limp. His name was Gerald Whitman, a 51-year-old handyman who lived on the outskirts of town. He had no close family, no friends to speak of, and a criminal record that included burglary and assault. When officers searched his dilapidated home, what they found turned the investigation into a nightmare. Hidden in the basement was a collection of personal belongings, jewelry, shoes, clothing, all belonging to women who had gone missing. Among them was Rachel's necklace, a silver locket that her mother had given her for her birthday. But the most chilling discovery was a series of journals. Gerald had written obsessively about his crimes, describing in graphic detail how he stalked his victims, abducted them, and took them to his property. His writings revealed a mind consumed by violence, control, and delusion. He wrote about hearing voices that urged him to purify the women he targeted. Investigators realized they were not just dealing with a killer, but with a man whose psyche was twisted beyond comprehension. When confronted with the evidence, Gerald initially denied everything. But after hours of interrogation, he cracked. His confession was cold, emotionless, as though he were reciting a grocery list. He admitted to abducting Rachel and revealed where he had taken her. Following his directions, police searched an abandoned well on his property. Inside, they found Rachel's remains. The entire town was shaken to its core. The image of a safe, quiet Coldwater was shattered forever. The trial that followed was one of the most watched in Michigan history. Prosecutors painted Gerald as a calculating predator who had hunted women for years. The defense attempted to argue insanity, citing his journals and delusions. But the jury wasn't swayed. After weeks of testimony, Gerald Whitman was found guilty on multiple counts of murder and sentenced to life without parole. Yet, the story didn't end there. During his incarceration, Gerald continued to write. He filled notebook after notebook with his thoughts, fantasies, and recollections of his crimes. Some of his writings hinted at other victims, women whose names were never reported missing. Authorities now believe there may be more victims buried in unmarked graves across Michigan. To this day, search teams continue to investigate his possible connection to unsolved disappearances. The tragedy left deep scars on the families of the victims. Rachel's mother, Linda, became an advocate for missing persons awareness, dedicating her life to ensuring that no other family would have to endure the agony she faced. She often said that although justice had been served in court, there could never be true closure, because nothing could bring her daughter back. This story stands as a chilling reminder that evil can hide in plain sight, even in the quietest of towns. A man who appeared to be just another lonely drifter was, in reality, a predator with a darkness most people couldn't even imagine. It also reminds us of the resilience of those left behind, families who turn their pain into purpose, and communities that come together to rebuild after tragedy.